Welcome to the DL Gaming Podcast. We're adding games both new and old, maybe nostalgic, but we're going to add them one game, to your backlog, one slightly inappropriate episode at a time. I'm fucking it up, but that's okay. My name's Amanda, and I just want to go back to the original Windows 95. Joining me today is Christian.
And it's all Taylor's fault. I'll get into it, but mark my words. No, just okay.
All right. Well, this week we're going to be talking about Desktop Explorer and Feed the Scorchpot. But first, Christian, what's new?
Yeah, what's new with me? So I don't know if you guys can hear. I'm still sick, and it's been so long. I just wanted to ask, has anyone had bronchitis or pneumonia before who's listening? Amanda, have you had any of these things? I can't remember the last time I was sick for this long. And I'm just thinking it might be time to see a professional. I have these like really wet coughs. I feel like I'm a medieval peasant going through, like it's rained for 7 days and my bed is soaking wet or something. And I'm definitely ill. I'm just like, if I pray harder, it'll go away. I'm just like ignoring it. I'm just like,
Well, does it like, I guess, does it hurt? Is it like something that's still kind of getting in the way of your day-to-day operations?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be time to see a doctor, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, because you'd want to make sure it's not pneumonia. Like bronchitis, unfortunately, like in a way, just because it's inflammation of your bronchioles. but no, like of the like tubes, I always look at the bronchioles as kind of being like the trunks and the branches of the tree, right? And your, or you could even say the roots and stuff. And then all the little sacs in your lungs that give you that air is like the leaves. But anyway, when that kind of stuff is all inflamed, it kind of just takes time to heal. But if it's pneumonia, you need antibiotics. And so that's something where you would want to check that out. Sucks, but
yeah. I was in Jamaica 3 years ago. Sorry, this is a bird walk. Oh my god! And I cut my knee in a loose tile on a hot tub, and everyone I was with, even random people in the pool, they were like, "You got to go on antibiotics, dude. Like you just cut on like an old tile in this pool. Like you don't know what's been growing in there." And I was like, "Oh, I've never done antibiotics before. Like I have no." What's the process? Are they pills? Is it like a stabby thing? Like I had no idea. And everyone was like, what? You're like 30 years old and you've never done antibiotics. I was like, I didn't even know this was a thing that people did unless they were like really sick or unless they clearly hurt themselves on like something really dirty that's
on a rusty tile in a hot tub in Jamaica. You're right, dude. Yeah. But I think it's worth like going to the doctor to get a chest x-ray to see if it's pneumonia or not. And then talking about it further with like your doctor. Cause yeah, it's been how many weeks now?
I think, 2.
2 weeks. Yeah, it's a little tough. Say like by Wednesday, get it checked out. if it's still bothering you, I don't know. Actually, I'm not a doctor. You do. Yeah.
Wait, no, this is official medical advice. I'm writing it down. Yeah. Amanda told me Wednesday. It's not the only virus I wanted to update our listeners on. So the virus that infected and attacked us at home, a direct assault from Brazil, if you will. I put this all on my shoulders because obviously I definitely downloaded a suspicious file. But in my defense, I unplugged from the internet in maybe 2 or 3 seconds and I mitigated everything really quickly. And I just think the more I thought about it, the more I was like, well, I think there's no way that it would be they would have to have done it so quick. Like maybe it's possible. I don't know it's possible. And then who comes into the group chat? Who yonders in and says, "Oh, I've been downloading some mods and I am infected." Someone messaged me on Discord. They have all my passwords, and I'm going, wait, because I got hacked a while ago. I got hacked like maybe like a week and a half before Taylor got hacked. Taylor, obviously, if this is your first time tuning into the show for some reason, he's the other caster who's not here right now because he's moving houses and his PC has been infected by a virus. And so if you listen to the last episode, I just want you to know I'm setting the record straight. Well, Taylor's not here, so he can't defend himself. And I'm saying DLG was attacked by Brazil because of Taylor, and it's I don't want to say it's all his fault, but I am going to say it's all his fault. I bear zero responsibility. And Silo season 3 episode 2 was really good in the end.
It was. And just you got to have a rule of thumb. You know what I mean? If you're gonna stick it in your hard drive, wear some protection, right? Like it's it can't be all willy nilly downloading everything.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're the one among us who is safely practicing computer hygiene.
I try. Well, that's because I'm boring and I don't download mods so much anymore. But I mean, Paralives could change that for me because the time I went really wild with mods was The Sims, and Paralives has that too. But Taylor's not the only one moving. The news that I've got is that I recently moved. That's why my background's different. And I just wanted to have a moment to like share something that I feel like we all can appreciate and love. And maybe you guys listening would do the exact same thing that me and my partner did, which is, we signed up. We've got an empty apartment that we're going to move into. We've got the movers booked to help us with all the furniture. It's the first time we've ever used movers, which shout out to them because it was a lifesaver using them. Yeah, movers is amazing. Like if you can afford it, do it. It's expensive, sure, but at the same time, my back ain't broke, so it's all good.
Do you mind me being nosy? How expensive is it? I've always wondered, but I've never.
It ended up costing us, I think, around, I want to say like 700 CAD.
Whoa.
And it's just a lot. But they spent 6 hours, moved everything, moved a couch here, tried to fit it in the apartment, couldn't, and then moved it back to the old place. So like they were amazing and they made it so seamless and just really helpful. And the thing is sometimes with movers too, I remember in, I think the Seattle area, people were quoting that like the cheapest you could find is like $500 USD for movers.
Well, I mean, $700 for 2 people for 7 hours. They have some degree of overhead. Yeah. They got to pay for it. I think that's a fair rate.
They had a massive truck. They had all kinds of things. They actually we weren't really sure because it was our first time doing it. So we weren't really sure how much we should do, how much they could do. But apparently like a lot of times they'll help you pack up stuff. They bring a bunch of wrap and bubble wrap and a bunch of things and blankets to help with everything too. We just went ham and like wrapped everything up and have everything. And like, it was just such a great experience. But anyway, before the movers show up, the very first thing that we had to do was move our PCs and the monitors into the apartment. We're not trusting strangers with our PCs. It's
babies.
It's the first thing to go into the apartment. So it was like Monday night.
I named this machine.
And I also, as a caveat, because the numbers I'm about to throw out are kind of wild for like a PC game hobbyist, but it's important to remember my partner like makes video games for a living, and he has like his office. He doesn't have to go into the office anymore, which means that he has his work PCs with him, right? So that's important because what we moved on Monday was 9 monitors, 3 towers, and internet was set up day one. Like one of the first utility basically transferred us in the internet.
Before the water was coming out of the taps, before the gas was coming out of the
Dude, the things that we do for the love of our hobby, eh? So, like, I was sitting there, like, we're looking at the 2 bedrooms.
Did you throw an A in there?
I sure did.
Yeah, hit me with an A? Jesus.
I sure did. So, we're looking at the stuff. We've got like a master bedroom that has like a nice like bathroom built into it, right? And then there's like a much smaller second bedroom. And initially we were like, oh yeah, the smaller bedroom's going to be the office and where the PCs are going to go. And as we're walking around, we're looking at it. And when we realized that, because both of our PCs have to be like Ethernet plugged in, that's also kind of just how we like it, hardwired in, right? And when we were looking around, we realized that we had to, if we went with the small room, we would have to take the Ethernet cord and like rig it up onto the ceiling and have it drop down in order to not roll on the Ethernet cable every time or walk over it all the time. And that was enough to be like, you know what? I think our PCs deserve the master bedroom. So like we took the smaller room to sleep in, and like, and in the bigger, nicer room is like, this is where we're going to pretty much live anyway. So that's where we have our desk set up, and I'm facing him.
Like,
he's facing me.
Throw a couch in there too, and like make it a cool space if there's room.
Maybe I don't know if it's big enough to throw a couch in here. I don't think so, but we could throw some things in. partner's literally pointing like at where the couch could go off the camera right now. But yeah, anyway, so, moving it, we got to have the master bedroom because cable management is going to be better for our PCs. So
Nice.
But a different thing.
Every single place I've moved to, I've paid someone to run the Ethernet cable through the wall and make a new plug-in. And it's always been really expensive. Well, not really expensive, but it hasn't been cheap. And every time they're like, they make some comment like, "Oh, what are you doing in here that you need that? Like, I've never had to do this before. Like, what are you, large files, or you just really like to?" I was like, "I'm a gamer."
Yeah.
You wouldn't get it.
Yeah. Gamer with a little bit of side hacking. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But more
Side
on the
getting hacked.
yeah, right. More for our listeners who don't give a shit about the moving and the personal stuff going on. We've got Train Fest going on Steam. Trains, 2 trains, dude. I'm excited. I know you like trains. I like trains. Did you get a chance to look at anything at all? Like, this is going to go on until July 27th, which means when you're listening to this episode on Sunday, you still got a day. You got a day to get on the train for Train Fest, man. Did you see any of these, Christian? Any of these calling you?
I love trains. There was one game that called to me, and sorry, I'm frantically trying to find it. I believe it's called Subway Explorer 2.
Ooh.
And it is a realistic train management game. Like for spreadsheet nerds, basically. Like, here's New York City and here's the train system. Can you optimize it? What do you think about 9-minute intervals instead of 10-minute intervals on line E? And you're like, oh yeah, that costs a lot of money, but it's really worth it. And anyways, that's the type of train game that I'm into.
That's cool.
I played this game called Bus Service Manager, I believe it was called. Do you remember me talking? It was a long time ago, maybe a couple years.
Yeah.
And it's the same idea. It's like you do it for buses, and I did it for Calgary. And I had such a fun time, like, optimizing the bus routes.
And then you're like, why can't this be real life? You got to send that to the mayor of Calgary and be like, I've already fixed it in this game, in this simulation. Make it happen.
I've fixed it in this simulation. All the budget I needed was unlimited. That's the only thing. The only thing missing was unlimited money.
Right. For me, I'm super stoked about Pandemic Train, which is kind of like you're in charge of the crew. It almost reminds me of it's like you're in charge of the crew, and there's also like some turn-based combat, I believe, that's involved in it as well. And you're trying to prevent this like pandemic from spreading through the train. So there's like a lot of different room management and building it. And it reminds me of Deck of Haunts, I think, where you're building that haunted house and spreading it out and like having people go through, but it's on a train, which is cool. I think Locomotive, I'm super stoked about. Kind of reminds me of Dark Side Detective, where it's like this kind of retro 8-bit style, like a detective kind of story-based game that takes place in a lot of trains. And then there's Derail Valley, which is just straight up like a train simulator. It's like, oh, you got to plug in the gas and you got to drive. Like, it's a true like train simulator. So that's just, that's cute. That's fun. But yeah, so if anybody likes trains, I don't know if anyone likes trains as much as us, but if anybody does listening, then check it out. It seems like such a cool festival for Steam to be having going on right now. I'd love it. I love that they make a fest for like everything, because there's every kind of game out there now, especially with all the indie games and how much they've just exploded. I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving along to the games that we did play. Christian, let's start with you. What did you play?
Sorry, I feel like I left you hanging on the trains. I wanted to say, I was thinking, how do they select? They have to know that once they announce these festivals, a lot of indie developers are going to want to launch in and around that, because it's like a themed event.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's really interesting that they might be partly guiding the release schedule of these themed games. And when you look at that list and you don't see anything that applies to the game you're working on, maybe you're a bit, you're like, oh, I wish I had a Steam theme. And I wonder if they take into account like, oh, there's 100 games on Steam that have train themes. Maybe we should have a train fest like coming. Or if they don't even look, they're just like, we love trains. Let's do it. We love whatever, all the other festivals.
Yeah, I'm curious how they decide what they're gonna do. Somebody get Gabe on the phone. We want to know.
I'm gonna put a Steam request in and ask. You can just ask them questions.
Do it.
And eventually they get back to you. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That'll be on next time. That's the hook for next episode. But what did I play? I played a game called Feed the Scorchpot. I want to start us off by saying I'm a big hypocrite. I said famously, numbers go up games aren't for me. I said I don't like the lottery mechanics of them. What else did I say? I don't like the beeps and the boops that they make. It makes me feel like I'm in a casino.
But you're hooked?
No, I'm hooked. Like this is, I'm sorry. This is a perfect game.
That's how they get you.
Yeah. So Feed the Scorchpot is if Catan was a single player roguelite where you collected the resources like on the hex grid where your buildings were placed, but only to feed them to a giant dragon who sometimes flies over and lights your lands and buildings and stuff on fire.
Scary.
Yeah. So it is a super fun numbers go up adjacency bonus game, and it has this beautiful Romanesque art, like medieval style calligraphy and like 2D pop out animations. Like if you were reading an old storybook where the things jumped out at you, it kind of feels like that. So the mixture of the visual style and what mechanically is going on is compelling. And yeah, I was like instantly hooked. So, by the way, guys, I'm getting you the inside scoop on this. Amanda, would you know this game? What do you think this game's coming out next week, the week after? What do you think?
It's coming out on Monday.
August 20th. I'm getting you guys early.
Ooh, nice.
This was a free key from a colleague, and I asked, I was like, is it cool if I talk about it? Because sometimes, the game's not done. They don't want you talking about it. And they said, no, you can talk about it, do whatever, show footage. And I want to talk about it. It's the game. Okay. I know I've been described as a hyper of games. Sometimes people say, word on the street is that sometimes I hype up a game and people said, why'd you hype that up? It's not as good as what you were saying. But this game is perfect, okay? Put that aside. Put your experience with me away on the shelf for 10 minutes. If you love Catan, it'll be instantly familiar. If you've even sniffed Balatro, if you've gone to the Balatro Steam page and looked at it, you'll get what this is trying to do. You roll the dice. You harvest from the buildings that are on the hexagons based on the numbers that are on the hexagons. Your buildings, if they're beside each other, affect other buildings. You feed the dragon. You upgrade your dice.
Hold on. You feed him and then he still comes through and burns your shit?
Yeah, sometimes he'll just get annoyed. It's like a random proc, it seems. And it'll just be like, the dragon is annoyed. And then he'll fly over and like light your buildings on fire. You'll be like, oh, that sucks.
You're like, I literally feed you. That's so rude.
They're not the nicest beings. They like talk down to you the whole time on the side. Wow. They're like, you fed me what? It was like 100 hams. I'm like, I'm sorry.
I'll do better.
So you upgrade your dice, you upgrade your recipes, you upgrade your board, like the physical numbers on the spaces. You can add additional numbers to them. You upgrade your items. Bored, Amanda? Is this boring to you? Harder difficulties, weirder dragons. There's this water dragon wears a crown of seaweed on her head, and to build on the port tiles in Catan, they're now filled with coral reefs, and if you destroy the coral reef, she gets really angry, and when she gets angry, she comes and burns your shit.
I mean, that makes sense. Coral reefs hold a lot of ecosystems.
Well, as she deserves, but I'm trying to feed her, and to do that, I need fish. And where do I get the fish?
Coral reefs.
Grow on trees. Let me tell you that.
Yep.
So the dragons affect the type of board, and they mix up the rules just enough to keep them fresh. There's like 12 different dragons. I think there's 10 different difficulty levels. There's so much in this game that it's just so well executed in the numbers go up genre that I'm coming to you early. Where am I coming to you? This game has 533 Steam followers. It has around 15,000 wish lists at most. That means you are of a select few people. I'm pleading with you. In my bias, I got the game for free. This is a biased plead, but take a look at the Steam page. Consider adding it to your wish list. And when it comes out, it's going to be a 95% positive or above. I'll be so shocked if it's less. I don't know what I'll do. What should I do, Amanda? I think
if it's less,
yeah.
You should
never hype another game again. Oh, that would be torture.
No, that would be torture. I don't know. I think you'd have to. You're gonna have to. Oh, you know what? I think you should write the most passive aggressive review. No, that's not good because then that'll go for the devs. That's not fair. I don't know. I'd love to hear from the
figure out how to
listeners.
punish me.
Yeah.
If you're listening, how should Christian be punished if he's wrong? 95% or above. I swear on my dragons. I swear on my Catan board. It's hard for me to communicate what a perfect execution of this is. I looked at this game and I thought, obviously, why hasn't anyone done that before? And whenever you have that thought, I think when a game instantly connects with you so hard, it's gold. I think it's gold. So
it's magic.
Take a look at Feed the Scorchpot. And do you have a favorite dragon?
You know what's funny? The very first one that comes to my mind, as basic as it is Blue Eyes White Dragon. Although I always loved Red Eyes Black Dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh. That was the one I always really liked. But that's about it. Otherwise, I guess an ice dragon, I suppose. I like that.
An ice dragon?
Yeah.
My favorite dragon is the one from Neverending Story. I don't even know his name.
Lovely.
Is it called Dragon?
I can't remember his name. I'm not gonna lie, but he looks
long
so
and white.
Fluffy. He looks so fluffy. I'm like,
It's
dude,
so
Oh, such a sweetheart. Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, awesome. Well, I mean, speaking of a game where it just feels, I know that feeling. It's like so electric. You feel like you're so honored and blessed to get to see something that truly is just so incredible and magical, and it's going to be a success, because the game that I played is how I felt the first time I played the demo, which is Desktop Explorer.
We're bringing you two bangers.
We're bringing you two
bangers.
Two bangers.
You listen to this show every week. We're bringing you two bangers. Come on.
Can't handle the bangers, dude. Yeah, this game. Oh my God.
It's too much.
Honestly, I can relate though. I spent a lot of time trying to think of how can I effectively talk about how incredibly fucking magical Desktop Explorer is. The words sometimes are hard to come by with it. So I just feel like there is something. Full caveat, I did pay for this game. I didn't get it for free. And I wouldn't have accepted it for free. If I would have gotten it for free, I would have gifted it to somebody, because I want them to have my money, because I love these guys. I love this dev team. I actually met them. We interviewed them back in 2024 in the beginning when the demo came out. Yeah. And so check out the interview. I met them at PAX.
What's it called? Three international developers.
No, that's Thrive.
Oh, sorry.
But it's the Desktop Explorer interview that we did, and I just knew it. The moment I played everybody's listening, okay, man, well, what the hell is this? So this is a it's a Windows 95 operating system simulator that isn't exactly that. That's the stage that you're on, and that's what you're navigating through is a Windows 95 operating system, and they nailed it. It straight up feels like you are back to the 90s.
I can't remember the last time. I might not remember how it felt until I played this game. It's been a while. It's been a long time since I've clicked on a really old operating system. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Not only that, but they somehow have found the perfect balance to create a puzzle, adventure, story-rich game that is also creepy enough that it breaks into the psychological horror genre. And they've done it so well that I'm just shit, man, give them a medal. It did such a great job. This game is amazing. When I first played the demo, I couldn't stop thinking about this game for like almost a week, which is why anytime I run into that, I want to interview that dev team, because I'm just like, I'm coming up with all these questions and I'm like, where the hell is all this coming from? And I want to know. And these guys are absolutely that way. We spent like 5 or 6 hours chatting with these guys, like over some beers, talking about life and poetry and all kinds of things. And I can see some of that in the game, which is the coolest thing for me personally. But for you listening, I do think this game is going to absolutely be worth it, especially if you are, if you're this kind of person. I think you're going to love the game. If you like puzzle games, so you like blueprints, things like that, Case of the Golden Idol, any kind of detective game, you're going to love it. If you really like anything that's nostalgic, especially like Windows 95, Windows XP, that kind of era of operating systems, you're going to love it on that. If you really like a good psychologically horror, creepy story that is not what it seems, you're going to really like it as well.
Like a Stanley Parable sort of, and who doesn't like those type? Well, Amanda, and sorry, this is just rocking around in my mind. Famously, you don't like horror games, or at least I know you to not like horror games.
I'm conflicted about them. I love them. I can't handle them. Like, they'll straight up give me nightmares. I like will scream and get really scared. I feel like they've done such a good job with Desktop Explorer of being creepy enough, and there certainly was about 2 or 3 moments where I was like, oh, I'm kind of like sketched out, and like I had a moment too actually in the game where I was like, am I about to get a virus? Like because it's done so well, but it's not terrifying. I think it's definitely more of the psychological horror, creepy kind of route of horror instead of very scary. But they play on a lot of things, like I can tell, and part of it might be from getting to talk to the devs actually, but like I can tell that like Silent Hill has a little bit of an influence in this game. I can tell that like there are certain things, like I could feel it, that like a little bit of the Final Fantasy way that you move and move through the world like might have influenced them in their movement of like that too, and the use of camera angles with some of the things they've done. But it's so cool. There's certain things that you'll have to do to solve these folders, like manipulating them, renaming them. Sometimes you have to go into the command prompt and do like a little, MySpace level coding to like get there, which is super exciting for anyone that even knows what the hell MySpace is. But like you have to utilize different programs to see certain things that you might have not seen before, check in hidden files and folders, go back to different things. So this game is designed in basically 3 users or 3 chapters. And so the premise is that you were gifted a computer that your uncle owned, and you're trying to kind of go through the computer to connect and understand your uncle a lot more, who has like a type of dementia. And so you're trying to learn and like uncover some of his amnesia and his dementia and things, because so much of it's in the computer and in his user profile. And then there's another user profile that you don't really recognize, and then there's admin. And again, these are like the 3 levels you unlock. So once you get done with the user of your uncle, you'll find out the password or how to recover the password to the next user. And that's how you go through these levels, is kind of finishing one, which is such a cool way to do it, because it's like, we've all know what it's like to have different users on a computer. And like, yeah, maybe you don't know somebody else's password, but like to use that as a method of chapters and moving through the story, I think is like kind of genius. This game it's only been out for about a week, and it has 96% overwhelmingly positive reviews, and it is so deserving. There is this like helpful program that is called Desktop Explorer. That's what it is. And the guy's name is Pizarro. And it totally, like, if you remember Clippy back in the day, this is totally Clippy. Like it's so funny, but I love this game so much. I feel like the puzzles are fantastic. I took a page from you, Christian. I know you handwrite a lot of things. I found this super old, since we're going with old, programs and games, I found a very old notebook from like the 80s, I think this is from.
Really?
Yeah.
Where'd you find it? Is it someone else's notebook, or?
No, I was working in a laboratory in Detroit, and we were going through a really old like research part of the building and throwing away things, and I found this section record and was like, this is a cool
freaking awesome.
Yeah, I was like, this is and I've not written in it at all because I've been like, oh, I'm just gonna keep it. And now it's filled with like weird ass shit that has to do with the Desktop Explorer. Because I feel like it's super fitting. Like, let's go with the retro thing, so that I have all these notes, and I saved it for this. And
if you interview the team again, you need to tell them this. Like, that
10,000%.
is such an honor.
Oh, absolutely. I feel super honored that like I got to meet like the two owners of like Recurring Dream and like the lead developer. I'm so honored that I got to like meet them and hang out with them, and we had a blast in Seattle. But like,
and that interview is called "Why 3 Indie Devs Are Making an OS Horror Game." You can also Google that, and it should come up.
Check it out. Yeah, because now 2 years later, they've released the game. They're very successful. Their Discord's popping off. Their community's awesome. I've been chatting with a lot of the people in their community. We've been talking about spoilers and theories and all these ideas, and I just feel like I'm really tapped into something that is just like so organically beautiful that they've created, and they've created everything, but they've also done such a crazy good job on this story. Like, there's so many layers to it, and there's so much influence and conversations to be had about trauma and PTSD and illness and like AI even, and just like how much.
So it's like a serious story. It's not like the game takes itself seriously. It's not like sort of a goofy horror.
No, but it's so gripping. It's definitely the kind of game where like, I think the other day I was playing it and like 5 hours went by and I didn't even realize it, like, and was super sucked in. I've only had to use like the community's help twice with 2 puzzles. And let me be clear, there are puzzles on puzzles on puzzles, all kinds of puzzles. There's decrypting, encryption puzzles. There's mathematical puzzles. There's a like who done it where like victim A is wearing like a blue shirt and a green like, and you have to figure out who did stuff. Like, there's so many kinds of puzzles in this game, and there's so many gameplay changes. Like, it feels like with one whole chunk of it, it's very text-based classic puzzle. You're going through things and reading a lot of things. Yep. Then there's a whole chunk where you're actually playing, like you're using WASD and moving an avatar and a character around and interacting with the world.
Okay, because I was thinking when you were talking about the Final Fantasy movement, I was like, I thought this was like a clicking game.
No, there's games inside of games in this game. There's one moment.
It's a game.
Yeah, it's a game. There's one moment, without spoiling too much, where there is a game browser that is pulled up over another game, which is technically on top of the game you're playing, which is the OS. So like, it's
Take that, Christopher Nolan.
I'm so impressed by this game. I have put in about 13 hours is how long it took me to finish the game. I beat the game. If you want to hear spoilers, we are going to talk spoilers about this after the show. After you listen to the outro music, we'll talk spoilers, because I want to talk about like how crazy the story is of this game. But is it worth the $17 USD, or what is it, the 23, I think, Canadian? Yes, I think this game is worth $25 USD, because you're getting so much out of it. And this is definitely a kind of game where when you're done, you're going to be thinking about these concepts, this story, and like this game. It's one of the most unique games I've played, just period. Oh, and so
that's so good, because you're famously a player of a wide breadth of pretty weird games at times. Yeah. So this is... Yeah.
It's such a cool game. And I feel like, especially any of us, what do they call it? The old unks these days, whatever. Any of us like older people, generation, millennials and older and stuff, are going to recognize so much of these little like nods to an era of us growing up with the start of the internet, what that felt like, being in these chat rooms, being in like DeviantArt, and all of these like little moments of like the Ask Jeeves. Like, they recreated this in their own world, and it is amazing. They nailed it. Like, there are so many things where I'm just like, oh my gosh, they have this in there? That's so awesome. And it's just it's so great. I love this game. It kept me on the edge. I feel like a lot of times when you beat a game that's so good, you're like, I wish I had more. But they did such a great job with the story that like it does have closure. So like, I'm just really honored and thankful that I got to experience the whole thing. And it makes me just really want to watch Recurring Dream and what they make next, because I feel like I would love to try whatever they make take next because they're onto something really incredible. The music's great. The ambiance is great. They did such an awesome job.
Okay.
But yeah, sold.
Buy the game.
So buy the game. And if you are like, I don't want this game, but I want to hear about this crazy ass story, stick around to the end of the show. And if you don't want the spoilers, this is your warning now that after the music of the outro goes, which you're going to recognize it's very iconic from the olden days and the early days of the internet. You're going to recognize it. After that is coming the spoilers. So here's your warning now. But Christian, I'm curious, what do you want to play?
I want to play something called Carthage, Bellum, Punicum, which is it describes itself as lead Hannibal's epic campaign to crush the Roman Republic. No, not the Roman Republic. Command individually rendered legions, manage complex supply lines, master realistic real-time tactics, and outplay challenging enemies in the Second Punic War, not the first, the second, to claim your place in history. So, if you don't know anything about me, I'm a huge fan of antiquity, the history of the Roman Republic, especially what the Greeks were doing at the time, the Carthaginians. Is that right? I don't know. Now
no idea.
Now I've fucked myself. Am I really a fan if I can't even say Carthaginians? Feed the Scorchpot isn't a perfect game. This is a perfect. I take it all back. Don't buy that. Buy this. You move your little squares around a map, and Rome moves their little squares around the map, and there are long supply lines you have to worry about. Are your people fed? How are they feeling? What's the weather like? So there's that tactical side of it, and then there is the battles themselves, which you have the freedom to place your units on these large fields. And, typically these battles in the Roman ages, they could go up to like 100,000 participants. Like these are truly huge conflicts that are more similar to a more modern wars than they are to anything that happened in the entire medieval time of sort of like the famous wars or battles that we might remember. Just professional armies smashing each other, and tactics as a military technology was really important. And at this period of time, they had fairly different tactics. I mean, one side has huge elephants and goes through mountain passes. Didn't see that coming, right?
Yep.
And so Saruman didn't see it coming. The Roman Republic didn't see it coming. And when I play this game, they're not going to see me coming. I'm thinking I would like the freedom to be as creative as Hannibal. So if it's just like, oh, you've got to go through the mountain pass in the Alps, and then I'll kind of be like, okay, well, they're following history. But if they're like, this is the war, these are your boats, these are your dudes, you have a lot of options. What would you do? I kind of am looking for that level of freedom so I can play these history what ifs, right?
Yeah.
Like, what if I went to the bottom of Italy and tried to crush the Roman Republic? What if I got on top? What if I landed
What if I brought
on
an
Rome
army
itself?
of elephants on boats?
Yeah. Which I'm pretty sure might not be possible. But we'll find out. I'll find out when I buy this game because it's definitely bought. So I am sorry to bring you another Roman game because last week I talked about Never Second in Rome. That game has launched, so that's what I'll be playing sometime. If you find a historical game set in antiquity, just tag me on Discord. It's almost instantly bought. If you were like, I am a vessel of money to developers who make these types of games. That's all I am. Okay. I'm not important. I am just a way to pay these people. So if you want to get those people paid, put the Steam links in Discord, and I can't wait till this game comes out.
Awesome. Very nice.
What did you play, man?
I really want to play this game called OFFBEAT. I played the demo, And they call it a music tycoon game where you basically are building up a recording studio using these like crazy musical objects, and you upgrade them. You complete these jobs by recording onto a cassette, and make actual music. Like the developer wrote, like the music that you make can be used for anything you want to, for any purpose. It is yours to keep. It is your music. So that's super cool, I think. And some of the musical instruments that I've already seen, just even in the demo, was this like little tiger. It was like the shape of a tiger, and it has like 9 piano keys on it. And it's definitely one of those like kids' little piano toys. And you can upgrade it to like add octaves, lower octaves, change the pitch, and like make something out of it. And then they have like a little magical gnome that just like sings, and either sings
That's my
ooh,
favorite instrument.
right?
That's in my top 10 at least.
Yes.
Yeah.
He sings either ooh, ah, or eh. And like that's it. But you can, dude, it reminds me of like back in the day with GarageBand, and like you could basically just like create music. And so it's been super fun creating stuff. I have a little monkey with cymbals, and he also does claps. And
of course, that's needed.
I really like this game. I think right now it is going for $10 USD with an introductory offer. It came out recently. And it looks awesome. I want it to be awesome. I want to make some sick beats. And then what? I should rap on this, right? And really launch my rap career on SoundCloud using nothing but meow kitty cat meow meow beats, right? Like that. Come on, you guys want to listen to that, right? Just meow meow meow.
I think you would fucking hit. I think there's a chance it would be great.
It'd be really fun, but it's such a cool game, and they've done it too in like a really beautiful, like retro 8-bit style as well. So like it's done really well. Super neat. But yeah, that's pretty much a show. That's what I want to play. So I guess we are moving along to listener questions. Christian, what's our community up to?
Oh, my Buckleys are wearing out, so excuse me. But by the way, it tastes bad and it works.
Hell yeah.
Is like the best marketing. Like it's so true, and you feel it in your soul, and you hear those words, and you're comforted. Like it's just perfect on so many levels. Anyways, Buckleys should sponsor this show. For JBet Quest asks, how would you compare Age of Empires 3 versus 2 and 4? As a kid, I spent thousands of hours with 2 and remember not liking 3, but I don't really understand why. Right. So a couple episodes ago, I talked about Age of Empires 3 and how I'm having so much fun with it, and how Microsoft took a huge swing when they, or what felt like a huge creative swing when they made this game. You had cards that, like decks that you would upgrade, and then a type of resource on the map was XP. And so you would level up your home city, but also you'd level up your ability to send your colony cards from that home city. And they could be really crazy power-ups, like ship a fortress or ship a factory that continuously makes a type of resource on the map that you've completely extracted. I love what they did there, but a lot of people didn't. Because what they did in 2 and 4 is a lot more of the traditional get resources, build up your base, and attack the other player. From my experience of what I've played of 4, and I didn't play that much, maybe around 10 hours, it's a pretty typical RTS. It's beautiful. It was fun, but I didn't really see any, it was kind of just more of the same, which people love more of the same, right? They just want updated graphics on their new Age of Empires. I can't blame them. But there's something special about 3. And if you like Age of Empires, I would consider picking up the definitive edition, if only for the new factions, if you've played 3 before. And if you've never played 3 before, I would say from a historical perspective, from a fact-finding mission, you should go and you should play it. And you could see what they were cooking in, what was it, 2002 or 2007? I can't quite remember, which was really interesting. And I hope if they make an Age of Empires 5 that they try and put a little bit of a different spin on it. Because as we know, the RTS is sort of like a dying genre. And that might not be fair to say because there's a couple really awesome RTS games coming out. But the typical RTS, like the StarCraft, the Warcraft 3, and the Age of Empires have been done to death.
Yeah.
And I think we're as a group may be done with them. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts. And thanks for the question.
Yeah. Great question. Is there anything that we're plugging this week?
We're plugging comments about if you've had pneumonia or what did I say? Hepatitis? No, bronchitis. Post your diseases. Any disease is fine, actually. Let's widen the net. Post your disease that you've had and your experience with it. Let's stay healthy out there, everyone. Yep. And the first step of health is to share stories of when your health wasn't so great. So you scare other people into going to the doctor. I find that to be very effective.
Yeah, true. Or what worked, what helped. But the doctor sounds like it helps for a lot of people. Giving a shout out, of course, to our executive producer, Truthbringer. Thank you, Truthbringer.
Hey, Truthbringer.
Thank you very much. All right, well, that was a show, everybody. My name is Amanda, and joining me today was Christian. Tune in next week because it's time for the 1.0 Pokemon Sweatshop. Amanda's going to be, myself, I'm going to be visiting Palworld, and I want to see these sucka fools go to work. I did not write this. Christian wrote this, as you can tell.
No, she wrote it.
Yeah.
She runs a tough joint.
Yeah, and Christian's going to probably be popping in when he can just to supervise to make sure that they're all working at optimal
I've never played Palworld, and it's so interesting to me. Amanda tells me it's multiplayer, so I do want to hop in and play with her, even if it's only for a little bit.
Would be fun. Yeah. What's playing us out this week, Christian?
It's the intro to Tech Desktop Explorer with a bit of a 90s throwback. If you know, you know.
That's right. And stick around if you want to listen to the spoilers of Desktop Explorer. But
spoilers.
Goodbye.
Spoilers.
Everyone's triggered.
Yeah. I actually have really fond memories of that noise, so.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
Are we getting into the spoilers now?
Yes, it is spoiler time. Spoils. Hold on. I got to switch to my notes. I was telling Christian at the top of the show that I made a section in my own notes that just says not for podcasts. So that way it was just, I could keep all the spoilers in one spot.
Spoiler City. It's Spoiler City.
It's Spoiler City.
You're picking up a hard drive that you've just found, or does this happen on your computer? I'm sure you'll get into it, but tell us.
Yeah, basically you are, her name is Gwen, but her nickname is Guppy, and you inherit your uncle's, his name's Hal, you inherit Hal's computer. So you have the whole computer that you're on, that you're using. And, it takes up your whole screen. You basically have turned your computer into the Windows 95 OS, and it looks like it, dude, complete with the fact that you have the old school screensavers, which is awesome because you could just sit there. I did that one time. I walked to go grab something to drink. When I came back, it was the pipes, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm thrown back to school. It's great." And you actually you have to use them sometimes. There's a little puzzle that says something encoded because they have these little story moments, and then you can go into the source code and either change things or you find little hints inside of the source code on how to solve a puzzle problem. And one of them one time was just stay still. That's the best thing you can do. And then you have to wait until the screensaver comes on. And it was the maze screensaver. And then it puts you in the maze to move, which was amazing. I was like, what the fuck?
Amazing.
That's such a great...
Amanda.
Yeah.
You hit us with the amazing. Come on.
Amaze. Anyway, so your uncle has amnesia and starts to develop a type of dementia. And you find out that it's actually from a very traumatic event where your uncle has to go through a burning house to save you. And he watches your father die, basically. And then what's crazy is So Desktop Explorer is very much a living program in that it is watching what you're doing. This is when, like, I think that the developers are really emphasizing the impact of AI, because Desktop Explorer kind of works on its own mind, and it kind of does its own thing. So, like, what it starts doing to Hal, or his nickname is Halibut. They have this really cute thing on the game where they call it the Angler Trio, and it's halibut, walleye, and guppy, and your guppy,
Aw.
right? Your guppy or Gwen, and your
Yeah.
uncle's name is Hal or Halibut, and your father's name is Walter or Walleye. And that's so cute, like just as a wholesome little moment. And you find these things because Hal has all these like files in his profile, his user, to like help him remember things since he knows he has amnesia and forgets things all the time.
Right.
And then Desktop Explorer, like I said, which is this like kind of this, he's called Pizarro. He almost looks like a little notepad with a cape, and he functions very similarly to Clippy, but it's kind of like as if you let him in on the entire OS in the computer, because he starts using so many of these things against Hal and like kind of drives Hal to go insane and makes his dementia so much worse that it puts him in the hospital, which is crazy. But you uncover this as you're playing, and you start you start finding out that that's what was happening to Hal, that user. And they have you go through these like different narrative puzzles with Halibut, and then you finally learn about this person named Maxine, who Hal, I guess, after your father dies, and Hal found your father, right? So Hal starts to date and see somebody new, and her name is Leela, and she has a daughter named Maxine, and Maxine has a profile, and you come to find out that this computer actually was owned by Maxine, but Hal was using it to get closer to her because he looked at her as like a daughter, and then she disappears. So you can't, like, you're trying to, at first you think that you're trying to learn about your uncle and like find out why he has this like very specific amnesia to a traumatic event. And then you start learning that actually you're trying to find where's Maxine and what happened to Maxine, because she goes missing, because Hal only creates a user profile to try and find out what happened to Maxine, because she lived chronically online on this computer because she loved it. She played this program called not Backrooms. It's called Next Rooms, I think. And that's the part of the game where you're actually physically moving with WASD and interacting. So you get to play the game that she was playing as her character to figure out what she was doing in this game, which is done as like the game reminds me of maybe what Meta's universe wanted to be, like a big MMO where you can visit other people's rooms and talk to people and have chat rooms and chat logs and interact and do like quests and stuff together. But it's all offline. So the important thing is when you inherit this computer, there is no internet access. So everything you're going through has to be archived. And so you're just figuring out what happened in the past by going back, but kind of reliving it through these programs and through these moments. And you start learning about Maxine because Desktop Explorer starts to force everybody into filling out journal entries and like these diary entries, and they force you as Guppy to start making your own as well. And so as you're playing the game, you're actually finding these little like ripped out pages of what they call the chronolog, which is like this diary. So that's how you're finding out of like all these things, these thoughts of the users and the people, right? And so Maxine like does not have a very good relationship with her dad. She feels like her dad's super controlling. She just really wants to be an artist. Her mom doesn't get it. Her mom's been dating this new guy, Hal, who is your uncle. And she just wants to be left alone to play this computer video game and do art. And that's all she wants to do. And
I mean, and who wouldn't? I mean,
right?
It sounds like a great life to me.
Yeah. And as a teenager, for sure. And so everybody assumes that she just left, like she ran away, like the classic teenager story. But as you start learning more of like what was going on with her on this video game that she's playing, it starts to feel a little more sinister. And you start learning that Desktop Explorer actually was like analyzing her psyche and everything that she was doing. And then like as she started fighting it, like there's actually this really long sequence to even get Desktop Explorer back on the computer once you first go into Maxine's profile, because she like encoded the shit out of it to force it to not be able to be installed again, because she was like, fuck you, Desktop Explorer. She has like literally like one.
You only stay in Word, Clippy. Like if Clippy started like being in other places, I would be very... I would be upset.
Yeah. And
what are you doing in Red Alert, Clippy?
Because that's the honestly, that's where the horror is coming through, is that like you will do something and then all of a sudden, like when, you know, back in the day when there used to be like a million pop-ups, like it does that, but it's Desktop Explorer, and then it will like spam the screen and be like, I see you, I see you, I see you, I see you. And it's like really jarring when it does that. And it's to show you how incredibly intrusive this exe file is and this program is, right? And so Maxine started experiencing that and started pushing back, because apparently she started talking to her friends online about it, and they're like, we have no idea what you're talking about. And it was making her feel crazy because this program was like interacting with her directly and was like guiding her and only showing her things it wanted her to see instead of showing her everything, or like completely deleting files that she had. So then she was like gaslighting herself basically into like, is this real? Is this not real? And then you come to find out, you watch a like cinematic at the end of the level of like her story and her user profile, where there is like an antivirus program that's through Desktop Explorer that's ironically called Damon, like demon. And it's telling her that the only way that she can become an artist is if she leaves her home and runs away from her dad, because her dad is actively doing things in the computer to force her to not become an artist, and that he wants her to become what she is, and that he's spying on her through these programs. And the only way that she can get away from it and really live freely is if she leaves. So then she does, but she leaves like through the game. And then you get to go to the admin profile, which you find out is her father, Emmett. And it's all like, it's basically like a coding game now. Like you have to do analysts, you have to decrypt like passwords to get into other user profiles. You can, which I thought this was such an awesome thing. You can analyze it, where you can analyze other profiles, and what it will do is it will run like command prompt code and show you how long it took the first user, being like Halibut or Hal or Maxine, how long it took them to complete all the puzzles. And then it shows you play run 2, which is you, and compares you how long you took to do the puzzles in comparison to the original user, which I just thought was like a genius detail, was so great. And then there's other little things. Some of the achievements are really fun. Like if you type in the code to uninstall Desktop Explorer, you get an achievement that just says, I see what you're trying to do, clever girl. And they don't allow you to.
Universe achievement.
Yeah, which is so great.
So Amanda, take us to the end. Like what?
Yeah. So then you find out, because through Emmett, through the admin, you find out that the father works for the company that created this operating system. He built and was a part of the team that built Desktop Explorer. And he did, in fact, put it on the computer that he gifted his daughter, so that way he could spy on her and he could convince her through Desktop Explorer to not pursue art, but instead to pursue math and to pursue programming like him. And so then you come to find out that Desktop Explorer, because it's, like I said, I think it's an analogy to AI actually, because it starts to learn Emmett, and it starts to use that guilt that he has, that he drove his daughter to run away, against him. And it caused him to be filled with so much shame and guilt that he does kill himself. And so Desktop Explorer did that. And then what's crazy, dude, is at the end of that, all of a sudden the whole screen fucking flips out, and it's like, we see what you're trying to do, Guppy. And it starts like making it all about you. And it's like, now you have to do this, Guppy, and you're living, and it analyzes you as the player, as a new player, and it created a whole new profile just for you as Guppy. So now you feel like you're actively fighting Desktop Explorer at the end of this, when you were just trying to get to the bottom of what was going on with this computer. And it's like you finally do it by like kind of basically deleting piece by piece and deleting everything on the computer is how you kind of free yourself. But it's like crazy and jarring and like does a ton of like graphic splitting and like is just really, really trippy, but really cool. And there's a lot of people that have these theories. This has been one of my favorite theories from the community, which I love that the devs are like, we're not going to confirm or deny or even react to your guys' theories. We just want to read them. And so somebody on the community who's been like, they've made guides, they're like very active in the community and have really dived in. Like their running theory is that Emmett and Hal are actually the same person, and Desktop Explorer fucked with Emmett's head so much that it gave him amnesia about all the shit that he made. So he started to become a new person. And it's supported in a way because when you're actually looking at the pictures, Hal looks like a much older Emmett. They look like the same guy. They look similar. And the timelines kind of match because they never said that Leela and Emmett got divorced. They just said that they got really distanced and they're not in a loving marriage anymore. And then Leela starts to see Hal and has like a new friend. And so I'm not necessarily sold that they're the same person, especially because you as Guppy and your father, like I don't know exactly where that lines up, but it is a really interesting theory that kind of like spins on it even more, that like if this program fucked with the creator's mind so much that he now like has kind of like the death of him, they're thinking is like a metaphorical death, that like he killed himself as in he killed part of himself to become a different person. Because Emmett's whole thing, he has this manifesto when you first get into the admin account that pops up, and it's about how he wants to create Desktop Explorer to help people get through their trauma and get through their issues by basically like forcing more of the trauma and desensitizing it. So there's this like theme of like generational trauma and like trying to break it as well, because he's kind of forcing that onto Maxine, and she kind of is like,
never find the daughter?
So you do. Yeah. As Gwen, after you get done destroying Desktop Explorer file by file, you're like literally going in and deleting things, which is really great and creepy because every time you try to uninstall stuff, like Pizarro pops up and he's like, you really don't want to do this, Guppy. I can help you. I can help you. I'm here to help you. And like, it's creepy. But anyway, so you then find that there was a redacted piece to that whole cinematic experience that happened when Maxine was talking to Damon. There's a whole chunk missing that you then get to watch, and you go back and you see Damon being like, the only way you can get away from your father is if you leave. And then Maxine goes, I would never want to leave my family because it's going to absolutely crush them if I go. And then Damon's like, you don't have a choice. And so she's like, well, then I'm going to change my username everywhere to Maxine Lovelace because my father is the only person that gave me that horrible nickname, and I've never talked to anybody about it except my dad. So he's the only one that's going to know that it's me. And so she has a whole profile online, keeps existing online, but she left. She went to a bus stop and then like went away, but then online is still in her presence. And so as Gwen, as Guppy, you actually reach out, and at the end, there's like a whole, it almost reminds me of MSN chat or like AOL chat pop up of you messaging Maxine Lovelace and like reconnecting with her. And then there's like at the end in the epilogue.
If I was Maxine, I would not trust that. I'd be like, this is fucking Pizarro.
Well, no, because Gwen like explains everything. Like, yeah, Gwen explains it and talks about it.
Pizarro would too. That's sneaky.
Maybe, dude, maybe. But they meet up in person because, again, remember, like,
okay.
I think Gwen and Maxine would have potentially met each other as small children because remember, Hal was trying to be a father figure to Maxine, and Hal was also being a really great uncle to Gwen. So there's a chance that they were basically like, if Hal and Leela did get married, then that would make Maxine and Gwen, who you are, Guppy, to be like basically step cousins. And if we go with the theory that Hal is actually Emmett, well, then they are stepsisters. So there is a world where they met as they were young. It's possible. So anyway, they reconnect. They show you at the end of like a picture of like Hal in the hospital, and both Maxine and you, Gwen, are there together. And so it ends in kind of like somewhat of a wholesome way, but it is like really creepy and really kind of wild, like how it gets there, you know, and how layered the mystery is, because it's just like I said, at first you're like, oh, it's classic amnesia. Let's see what happened in the past story. And then it turns into, oh no, missing girl story. What happens? And then it turns into, oh no, the guy that's been helping me is the evil mastermind the whole time. And the bad guy isn't
so
fully
nice
bad.
looking.
Yeah, it's so.
Because Pizarro's just like a jolly notepad.
Yeah,
you know,
he's so cute and so great. But yeah, dude, it was such an amazing game.
Awesome, and I sincerely hope that if you wanted to play this game, you didn't listen to it.
Yeah.
And if you did, maybe you've messed up. Sorry.
Well, I don't know if the story, because that's just spoiling the story. There's so many puzzles that are just really awesome and really crazy. I don't know if you want to hear some of them, the spoils of those.
I think we might. We'll have to end the show.
End the show. Yeah, no, that's fair. So, you know, maybe if somebody listened to the spoilers, they still at least have the puzzles to go through because they're super good. But yeah, thanks for listening. That's Desktop Explorer. I loved it. Shout out to Recurring Dream. Like, they did such an amazing job. It's so good. It's so good. It's so
sweet.
Anyway, alrighty. Well, that's gonna be
a large clap.
Yeah.